Farmer and the Window High Retention Storytelling Script. Listen closely, because this story begins on the coldest night the valley had ever known, a night when a single window decided the fate of a stubborn man. They called him Old Brannock, the farmer who feared nothing except letting his farm fall apart. Every morning, before sunrise painted the fields with pale silver, Brannock inspected his land with the intensity of a general walking a battlefield. A loose plank on the barn? Fixed. A crack in the stone wall? Patched. A hinge that squeaked? Oiled before it finished squeaking. But there was one thing he never touched. The window on the north side of his farmhouse, a small rattling square of glass that looked out toward the icy ridge. Its frame was warped. Its seal was gone. And in winter months, when northern winds came slicing down the valley, that window trembled like it wanted to scream. Neighbors told him, "Brannock, that window's the death of you." But he waved them off. "It's just a window," he grumped. "The walls matter more." And so he patched walls and rebuilt fences and replaced shingles. But the window, it remained crooked, aging, and ignored. Then came the storm. A blizzard rolled in so suddenly that the sky went from twilight blue to bruised gray in a heartbeat. Snow hammered the valley, lifting into spirals that clawed at roofs and swallowed the roads. Most villagers locked their doors and stayed huddled around their hearths. Brannock, as always, worked. He marched outside into the roaring wind to reinforce the barn wall. One more repair, he told himself, before the storm grew worse. He braced a loose beam, tightened a rope. Everything looked perfect. Satisfied, he trudged back toward his farmhouse. But the cold felt wrong. The closer he got, the more he sensed it. Not the natural cold of winter, but a hollow chill, a creeping numbness that seemed to seep straight through cloth and skin. When he opened his front door, the truth slapped him like a sheet of ice. The window, that forgotten window. Snow was pouring through a gap wide enough to fit his fist. A white mound had already formed beneath the sill. Wind shrieked through the opening, turning his small home into a frozen cave. Brannock dropped his tools. He lunged for the window, pressing his hands against the rattling frame, trying to hold back a storm 10 times stronger than his grip. But the glass was brittle, the wood was rotten, and as the storm howled, the window gave one last shudder, and the entire frame collapsed inward. The cold engulfed him like a living thing. He staggered back, breath turning to steam. He grabbed blankets, boards, nails, anything to plug the hole. But his fingers were stiff. His breath shook, and the storm outside only grew louder, fiercer, more merciless. For the first time in his life, Brannock felt fear. Not of the cold, not of winter, but of the truth that crept up through the numbness. He had fixed everything except what mattered most. He crawled toward the fireplace, clutching the last ember of warmth. The storm screamed at the walls, frost gathered on his sleeves, and in the flickering firelight he whispered to himself, a confession carried by trembling breath, "I should have repaired the window." Morning arrived with slow, hesitant light. Villagers found Brannock slumped beside his hearth, wrapped in blankets, alive, barely, but alive. They tended to him, warmed him, listened as he told them what happened. And when he recovered, old Brannock didn't patch fences first. He didn't reinforce barn beams. He didn't check the shingles. He walked straight to the north side of the house, removed every splinter of the broken frame, and built a new window with his own hands, sturdy, sealed, and gleaming. From that winter onward, he told every visitor the same lesson. You can patch walls all you like, but neglect one small weakness, one tiny opening, and it'll freeze your whole world. Because sometimes the thing we ignore the longest is the thing that harms us the most. If you enjoyed this story, please like, share, and subscribe to help the channel grow.